How are
what?
you not?
I have to tell you, there have been
point?
7 people at the time of Tokyo Rose. There were 7 people that were convicted of treason. And she was not even given life. She was given 8 years. And she spent, I think, 5 in prison and released on good behavior. So there is some degree of treason because 7 people at her time, her trial was the most expensive trial in American history at the time. Wow. That's phenomenal.
Wow.
And they didn't have a case against her. Here's what's so amazing. The media, Walter Winchell, found out that she was going to be granted her American status again and be brought over, and he could not take it. He said, how can somebody like Tokyo Rose be allowed back into the United States? She was an American citizen, and he couldn't do it, so he whips everybody up into a frenzy. Well, the reason why she was allowed is because they did an investigation, and they found out she was a good guy. She was on our side. And so what did they do? Because the president at the time needed to have good poll numbers, and Walter Winchell had whipped everybody up into a frenzy, they went over and they actually got people to perjure themselves. They suppressed and destroyed evidence. There's very few recordings left of what she did. And the eyewitnesses didn't come out until the 1970s. For years, they were told, keep silent. It's amazing to me how we can just erase history, change history. If it's convenient for somebody, if the press wants to gin something up, they will destroy somebody so they can look strong. The truth doesn't seem to matter to people. Truth really matters to me. Really matters to me. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I was doing the things that most people in the media do. And they just do it, and they can make all kinds of excuses for themselves. But the truth is the truth. Truth means truth, even the hard truth. Truth means you don't put people like Tokyo Rose in prison. Last week, I was lucky enough to be able to find, out of just an amazing man's collection, a guy who has collected incredible pieces of history because he wants to keep them in private hands. Brent Ashworth is his name. And he showed me in his collection a microphone. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And he said, nope. And I asked him, would you ever consider selling it? And he said, nope. And then he wrote me back and he said, to you, I think I will. Because I know it has special meaning to you, and it should be known. Tokyo Rose is a woman that is synonymous with the word traitor. Tokyo Rose was an American citizen. She was probably the most listened to disc jockey in the history of the world. Her name is Iva Toguri. She was born here in the United States, and then she went over to Japan, and then the war happened. And she wanted to come back to the United States, but couldn't. But because she was an American citizen, because she spoke fluent English, she was forced to give broadcasts on Tokyo radio. And there were 5 different Tokyo Roses. She was Orphan Anne. And she refused. She said, I'll play music, but I will not do the demoralizing messages. What the Tokyo didn't know is that she was actually going to visit our soldiers who are kept in prison camps. And when they found out, they thought she was there doing their work. They didn't trust her. The prisoners didn't trust her, the Americans, and for a while. And Tokyo didn't really trust her either because she was an American citizen. So she was without a country and without friends. But she convinced the Americans, I'm on your side. And she brought them medicine. She saved their lives. She brought them medicine. She brought them food. She smuggled it in. She risked her life to save ours. She would do broadcasts. In fact, one of the guys who this didn't come out until much, much later in the 70s, Robert White, one of the aerial gunners, he said he used to listen to Tokyo Rose. And he would listen to her, and she would always start the 0 hour. That was hers. And she would start, and she'd say, "Hi, boys, this is your old friend, Orphan Annie. I've got some swell records just in from the States. You better listen to them while you can, because late tonight our flyers are coming over to bomb the 43rd Group when you're all asleep, so listen while you're still alive." And the guys in Tokyo couldn't really understand, and they thought that she was demoralizing. What she was doing was she was telling, tonight we're going to go bomb the 43rd Group. She saved lives. When the war was over, a Navy officer came over and he burned the radio station down to the ground. But before he did, he wanted to kill her. But before he did, he took her microphone and he brought it back to the States. This is Tokyo Rose's microphone that is now sitting on my desk. It has not been used to broadcast anything since World War II ended and Tokyo Rose spoke into it. But she was speaking words that were truth, that were trying to help the American people. When the war was over, the investigators from the U.S. government came over and investigated her and found out from the prisoners of war that she was helping them. And she was helping write these broadcasts and had them help her write these broadcasts in ways that wouldn't be demoralizing, would show that we're on the inside. And so she was let go. But when she was coming over back to America, her home where she was born, what happened? A radio broadcaster, Walter Winchell, found out about it and thought this was awful that she could even become here. She could even come here. Here's Tokyo Rose. And so he started to gin up the American people and start to spread lies. And the government, because they needed to be popular and do the popular thing, they went over and they started to get people to perjure themselves and lie about her. She went to prison as a traitor to her country. It was a lie. I've thought a lot. What am I going to say if this microphone works? What would be appropriate to say in this microphone for the first time since 1945? We don't know if it works or what it sounds like yet. We're going to plug it in here in a second and try it for the first time. A message from the microphone used by a hero that was deemed a traitor. In a moment.
No chance it sounds like the mic you're on right now.
I don't think so either.
I think there's a 0.
But it'll be
this
interesting.
This is a knockoff of this microphone. This is made by Japan.
Yeah.
And they couldn't obviously...
Is that one made in Japan still?
No, this is an RCA. This is American made.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
On my desk is Tokyo Rose's microphone. This is the real microphone that she used to give all of those broadcasts. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison here in America. Her whole story is unbelievable and unbelievably tragic. But let's just say that the government did an investigation. They found nothing on her, so she was free. She wanted to come back to the home that she lived in. She was not only did nothing wrong, she was a hero. But the press got a hold of her and thought they could make things into something, and so they did. Her trial was the most expensive trial in American history at the time. And the government, because the people were now crying for it, because the media spun everything, took her words out of context, the government went over and paid people to perjure themselves. She went to prison. Her microphone hasn't been used since the 1940s, and since she used it, and a Navy officer came in and took it and then burned the radio station down. We believe this is the first time it's ever been plugged in because we had to actually open up the plate last night and put new wires in because they had just been cut. And so we put new wires in the base of it. But this is all the original. Everything is original. This is the microphone she used. And I said last week I thought it would be interesting to plug it in and see if it worked. And I had no intention of bringing it on the air and doing this today until last night when we were doing it. And we were going to test it. And I said, no, wait. No, don't. Don't plug it in yet. Because if it does work, that's an important thing. And so we'll turn off this microphone, and I don't know, should we turn this one off? And I don't know if the other one, but...
Maybe we turn that one off when we find out that one works?
Yeah, turn this one off if we find out. So I'm going to go move to the other microphone. Hang on just a second.
Standing now.
Check.
Wow.
Check 1, 2.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yep.
Check 1, 2. I thought this morning, if it worked, what should be said? From the microphone used by the woman who identified herself as Orphan Ann. We called her Tokyo Rose. But her name was Iva Toguri, and she told the troops where the bombers were going to come so they could prepare. She hid all of her information. She disguised the words that she was using to hide them from Tokyo, not from the Americans. This microphone hasn't been used since her broadcasts in the 1940s. So here's what should be told. America, tell the truth. Tell the truth, even if it means in the end it hurts you. America, don't believe everything that your country and your government tells you. Because while many times, most times, it's true, in many critical times, it's an out-and-out lie. If this microphone could speak, it would tell you this. Your country told you lies. Iva Toguri was not a traitor. She was wrongly tried and wrongly imprisoned. And real justice for her is now beyond our grasp. Question everything that everyone says. Question the things that are even coming now out of this microphone, just as people questioned it 70 years ago. Find the truth, because it depends on you. It's calling to you. Don't follow the crowd. Don't do the easy thing. Do the right thing. That is incredible. We get into the break, and Jeffy says, you're not going to believe this. I was doing some research while you were doing this. I'm looking her up. Her name is Iva Toguri. She died 7 years ago. Today. I mean, it's funny because I was looking her up last night, and I looked up and I saw that she died 7 years ago, because I was like, I wonder how long ago she died, and it wouldn't have been. I said to my wife, we were laying in bed last night, and I said, what a missed opportunity. I wish I could have, and we should start looking for some of these people. Can you imagine? I mean, I can't believe Tokyo Rose was with us up until 7 years ago, and you don't really even. Did you ever see an interview with her or anything? I mean, here's a woman who was pardoned by Gerald Ford in the 70s.
I remember when we first found out about that, we were like, what? What was he thinking? And then we looked into it to find out what he was thinking.
And he's right.
And he was thinking exactly.
You won't believe there have been several things that Pat and I have talked about in history over the last really year. Several things that were like, that's not right. There's something wrong here. Mm-hmm. And we'd go back and look, and we'd start to uncover stuff. And then we turn it on to our researchers, and they reconnect with history, because it will ground you and set things right. And you won't believe how much you don't know about our country that needs to be set right.